Good morning, it's Sophia, and today's discussion is about acne. It's going to discuss my personal acne journey, strategies that worked, strategies that didn't work, and I wanted to create a video where people who are currently suffering from acne have somewhere to come to and share their experiences, because often breakouts, they are sort of regarded as like a cosmetic thing, which kind of makes them seem not that important. But when you're a victim of acne, it can be a very isolating and lonely place. And before I sort of launch into my experiences, I would just like to reiterate that I'm not a doctor, so it's very important if you are suffering with acne currently to go seek medical help, because there's nothing better than having an expert's opinion. And then anything else is in addition to that. You can tailor the sort of recovery to what is going to help you as an individual. That's really key. Everyone is an individual, so make sure that you're not blindly following anything, that you really research things and make sure that it's suitable for you as a person, an individual. Okay, my acne journey. It has been a long one. Prior to being 14, I had, without fair of sounding like a massive big head, beautiful skin. It was olivey. I was always outside because I was a garden child, and it was just like flawless. That is the best way to describe it. And suddenly, when I turned 14, obviously I hit that lovely milestone, puberty. Suddenly then, I got breakouts everywhere, all over my face. And it was that bad, or at least it felt that bad to me. I was genuinely envious of people that had acne, which is a ridiculous thing to think and say. But to me, they could cover theirs up. They were lucky. Whereas mine was on my face, the thing that greets everybody, the thing that people look at. And at that age, that was, if I fancied or had a crush on a boy, he would be hopefully in that vicinity. So it was like a massive dent to my confidence. And I was being really severely bullied at the time as well, so that didn't help. But I felt really low, and it was a really dark time. And this sort of cycle of having breakouts and spots, it happened continually from then. So I went to university, and I went to a really rural university. We did things like hiking, kayaking, cliff diving, river swimming. It was very outdoorsy. And the people there, my peers, were, oh god, the girls were just beautiful, natural creatures that didn't wear a scrap of makeup. And I felt like the biggest silly girl because I was plastic and stuff. Because at the time, I didn't feel confident enough to go out without makeup. That's how low my confidence and esteem was. And up until very recently, actually, I've continued this cycle of sort of, it'll get okay, and my version of okay is sort of, if you looked closely, blemishes, but not sort of big, obvious pimples. So, what measures did I take? Initially, I obviously visited my doctor with my mum, and I was given a course of oxytetracycline, which I believe is an antibiotic. And the frustrating thing with any skin treatments is, because your skin is a living organism, it's full of cycles. Anything generally takes about 3 months minimum to see an effect. And I was on oxytetracycline for what felt like forever. Nothing really happened. If anything, it just gave me really red stomach cramps and not growing my system at all. The pill was discussed, but because I had migraines as a child, I wasn't allowed to use it, so that was a massive no-no. However, I'm quite glad that I never went down that route, because my sister, she came off the pill and had a massive breakout. Luckily it's all cleared up, she's absolutely fine now. But I think messenger hormones can sort of have a really big effect on your skin as well. I can never remember how to pronounce this, but people at the time were really discussing something called Roaccutane. Something to that effect. I believe it's a pill that you take that is supposed to be like this miracle cure for acne, and it does work, but apparently it can have some pretty scary side effects, like we're talking suicidal thoughts, depression. And although I felt the most desperate I've ever felt when I was at my worst with suffering from acne, for some reason I never ever entertained taking that, because I think deep down I know I'm a very sensitive person. I feel things very deeply anyway. So the thought of introducing something into my body that was going to affect me so much, I just couldn't do it. So eventually I found something called Duac. It's a topical cream you put on once a day, and typically when I started using it there was like a world shortage. Yeah, really. Because I'd spoken to several people who had just called it like a miracle cure, and you know, no nasty side effects, it's literally just like a topical thing. Managed to get some eventually though, and yeah, it's a good, it gives your skin a good baseline, so it deals with what you've got. I think in terms of skin it works fairly quickly, within a month or so, and it's good for preventing further ones, but as it's an outside method, it doesn't prevent you getting. Oh, my puppy's trying to get in. Hang on, puppy. 1 second. Come on then, in. Good boy. It's gonna get noisy now because he breathes so loudly. Where was I? Yeah. So Duac cream as a barrier method for preventing spots, very good, but it tackles the spots that you have, and keeps them at bay, but you can still get spots with it. So it's amazing, but it's not like a cure-all, if that makes sense. Okay, so the strategies that have really made a difference to my acne journey have been several of the following, and again I will reiterate, not a doctor, but these are sort of a good additional things to help with your journey and get into, you know, a happy place. So it's an oldie but a goodie, water. If I show you, so every evening I fill this up. I like the message, yoga made me do it. I thought that was quite cheeky. Thank you, little sister, for buying me this. So every evening I fill this up to about here. I leave it on my bedside table, so on a morning the first thing I see when I wake up is that giant bottle of water, and I guzzle the stuff. And obviously you don't like knock it back like a shot, but within a sort of 25-minute, 30-minute time frame as I'm getting ready, I'll be sipping that. So before I even leave the house to go to work, I've had, that's almost 2 litres I think. And then I carry this absolutely everywhere. I make sure that I've got it with me, because I would much rather drink probably 8 cups of coffee and tea than have even a sip of that. So I have to have something really obvious in my face so I remember to drink. The second thing that I felt really made a difference was I'd been a vegetarian since I was about 8. Yeah, I think I was about 8 years old. I found a book in the library, and that just changed my life. But anyway, that's another story. So around about 5 years ago, I was surrounded by some vegans in university, and they weren't strange or weird. They were really lovely people, and they introduced me to their diet, and I have never looked back since, because once you start to learn about the ethics and morals of it, it's hard to forget. And you know, I'm going to be honest, I've been vegan to varying degrees of success. Lately I'm on it, but you know, I've had my relapses. But within 6 months of changing to veganism, my skin had like a massive change. When I was getting spots, I still had the occasional breakout, but when I was getting spots, they were like really little. There was like, excuse the pun, no meat to them. So it just seemed to clear my skin. I mean, obviously, if you're a vegan that only eats like potatoes and creepy door. Yeah, if you only eat like potatoes and not fruit and veg, then obviously that's not going to work. It's all about how much vegetables, fruits, water that you're drinking. So, and again, I'm going to be very careful how I say this, because I'm not advocating that you only eat fruits and vegetables, you know, like raw, but a majority raw vegan diet has really helped with my skin. And the last area that I think tends to get really overlooked in sort of dealing with acne, but is integral in my opinion, is stress levels. Because I noticed there was a pattern for me. When I was particularly stressed around exams, I would get massive breakouts, and it would just add to the stress because then I'd have something else to worry about. So for me, I've been practicing yoga since my early teens anyway, but sporadically. And then when I got to university, I started really getting into my yoga, and several years ago became a qualified yoga teacher. And now it is absolutely integral to my everyday that I do some form of yoga. And yoga is often confused as merely stretching exercises, but it's so much more. It involves pranayama, breathing techniques, and it involves meditation. And the theory is your mind and your body are connected by the bridge, which is the breath. And when you do your pranayama techniques, when you focus on your breath, it creates a calm environment within the body, which allows this thing, your mind, to get central and focused. And we always talk in yoga about the third eye, so you start to focus on that third eye, and you create peace. So that's what yoga is really. It's creating peace within the body. And then that peacefulness extends to fellow beings, to your environment, and hopefully helps make you a really great person. So I found really starting to take control of my emotions through a dedicated daily practice of yoga, both physically helping my body and mentally, was really, really key in helping me tackle my spots. And I think it's very important to reiterate that I still get breakouts, because sometimes that's just the way life is. You may have very reactive skin, which I do, and I think it's a little bit of a symptom of being a very sensitive person. I'm a very emotional person, ask my boyfriend. So I think sometimes it's like my body's way of coping with all that like internal stuff. And the last thing I want to touch on is that you are already perfect in your beautiful, imperfect way. So try to remember that even though you may have spots and breakouts, you're still beautiful. They aren't you, they're just a part of you. And as much as, you know, this video is about trying to resolve those issues around breakouts and acne, I also want you to really, really remember that we've almost been blessed by having spots, with the life lesson of being compassionate and learning to not judge people, because we feel imperfect anyway, and it can affect our confidence. For me, definitely, having spots and having that low confidence made me think I needed to be more vibrant within my own sort of way of being and personality, because I felt like I had a shortfall, which is really sad to think actually, but I think it helped me be a nicer person because I have more empathy, and I know how it feels. So when people tell me about their body issues that they feel underconfident about, I totally get it. So yes, whilst it's infuriating, frustrating, upsetting, and can be a bit of a low confidence causer, just made up a word, didn't I? You know what I mean. Whilst it can be, you know, a very hard thing to deal with, just remember that firstly, you're not alone. There's lots of us who've suffered with acne and continue to suffer with it. And secondly, that you are a wonderful, amazing, beautiful human being, and this is just such a small part of the tapestry which makes you up as a whole. So don't let it get you down, okay? There's lots of things that you can be trying and doing, but most importantly, it's a process, and every process takes time, so be patient, my darlings. Last side note, makeup. Many good-natured people have often said to me, do not wear makeup makes them worse. In my personal experience, again, not a medical professional, in my personal experience, it made literally no difference. At a time when my acne was at its worst, and I was being pretty severely bullied, I made the decision to not wear makeup, just to prove to myself, and I did this within a 6-month time frame, so there was plenty of time for the skin to sort of clear up if it was being exasperated by makeup. And it didn't. It made no difference to me personally. Some people discuss the success of it, but I I think if you've got a really great hygienic makeup removing process that you do at the end of the day that you know is really cleaning the skin, then I don't personally think wearing makeup made that much of a difference to me. What it did do though was give me enough of a bolster, so when I walked out I didn't feel like this, because this is what we tend to do, isn't it? When we've got acne, we hide. So at least, you know, for me, makeup made me feel like I could leave the house. But yes, water, veganism if you can, mindfulness, and above all, go see your doctor. So I'm really, really interested to hear your journeys and experiences with acne. So please, in the description, commenty bits, leave some feedback, because I love to hear your voices and what you think about things. And my puppy is literally having some water right now, so I'm going to go fill my water bottle because he's reminded me. Okay, have an awesome day, love bugs.